Hello and welcome to the process diary for this month. This is the final in the modeling part of the Tholemo tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be taking a look at modeling the braces, finalizing the gloves, and finally creating the eyebrows before showing you a final render of the finished character.
So two last things have to be done to this model, and that is attach braces and then finally get the forearms back. So we'll start with the braces because they're going to be the easy part. Much like with the shoelaces, what I am going to do is create a curve because this will give us a nice organic shape that can quickly be molded to the character's body shape, and then we'll do a bevel on that and change that into a mesh. So I'm going to place my cursor roughly in between the back and the front of these pants where the brace should probably start. And in side view, I'm going to add a Bezier curve. Now, we can pretty much use these 2 points as our back and front and just maybe subdivide along the way. So we'll just hit the W key, subdivide, W key, subdivide, and we can begin to grab these points and move them around to where they should probably go. These two will definitely have to have another subdivision in there somewhere so that the strap can go around like this. Now, there is something that I do want to happen to this strap, and that is that it's going to end around about here. So I'm going to get rid of this point here. Grab this bit here. It's actually going to feed into a larger part, which will probably model out of the pants. So now what we need to do is just sort of complete this brace. Let's get a couple more bits here on the front. Like so. We'll enable 3D like we did in a previous tutorial, curve and surface tab in the edit menu, and we'll enable our connected sort of a proportional fall off tool for the for curves, and we'll begin to get those points in place. I think we only needed it for that initial one. Let's go Control 1 to look at the back here and make sure that the line of this brace is working. So we don't need that particular one. It's probably going to end at about a point around here. We'll get rid of, right. That's the front. It's going to end at about here, and there'll be a nice thing that sort of comes out the back here to sort of catch these two straps here. So we'll continue to see which one's the back here. Probably this one. No, we've seen that one. This one here. There we go. Okay. So then let's go numpad 1 to the front. The side view is very helpful too in getting this basic curve shape correct. Okay. So let's see what that looks like when it's beveled out. So again, we'll go to our central point here, somewhere between there, and we'll add a Bezier circle. We'll scale that down in the Z, like that. And we'll grab these, move those up in the Z a little bit, move these down in the Z a little bit, and just scale the whole thing down to about maybe 0.2. And this will give it a name, call it strap shape. Hovering my mouse over there, Control C will allow me to paste the name. Selecting my strap curve, I can then go to my bevel object and Control V, click on strap shape. Now, something has happened here which is showing that the curve is not doing it correctly. It's out about 90 degrees out. Now, there's a quick way and then there's a long way of fixing this. I should have probably oriented these points so that they actually fall flat against the mesh, but because I haven't, and this is a very common mistake, the easier thing to do is to go down to the curve that we created, that strap shape there, go into edit mode and just rotate that 90 degrees. And you'll instantly see that the strap shape now looks right. It looks more like it's meant to look. So if we select that and edit it, we can see that it's doing what it's sort of meant to be doing. I'm going to get rid of that point and stick in another subdivision just so that it's oriented more correctly. And you can see how that sort of ends about there, which is kind of where we want it. Let's just move that back a little bit. We could probably rotate this in the Z direction a little to give it a bit of a twist. But there is a pretty good strap. The back doesn't look that great. It could be better. Maybe if we get like we did before, or maybe just make things easier for ourselves, and just sometimes having less points is a better idea than trying to get as many points as you possibly can. So saving that. Now going to go Option C, convert that to mesh. Select all those vertices, remove doubles. There's none to remove, strangely enough. And set that to smooth. Now, because this is going to be part of the pants, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my, move my cursor to selection, select the strap, and in my mesh tools, center the cursor. Now, when I add the mirror modifier and unclick X, click on Z, there we've got our two straps formed on there. And so the next bit is to actually modify the pants, especially around the back here, to bring up that sort of the strap holder, if you like, that sort of comes out of the back here. So this is going to be something that's probably going to be looking as if it was patched on. So we'll duplicate these vertices here. P to separate from selected. There's the patch that we needed. And let's move that up the back at an angle. And let's extrude that out a little bit more. And now let's extrude that up a little bit more. But let's start to bring this out so it flares. And we'll subdivide this, because what we'll do is we'll have a bit that's actually flat and a bit that's angled, as if it's sort of built to collect this this strap. we're selecting that one and moving that in there. So I'm going to select all of those and extrude this region in its normal so it gets a little bit of depth. Select all, Control N to recalculate normals. And now I'm going to extrude this face here along its normal, grabbing these vertices and stretching them out a little bit over here, and grabbing these ones, stretching them out a little bit over here. Select all of these and just sort of push them out a little like this, like so. Okay, starting to look good, starting to look good. Let's extrude this down a little bit and push this out. So what we're going to see at the back is sort of a little bit of a flap here, which will then model a pin of some sort, and will make this look as if it's been tacked on to the pans here. Just scale that in a little bit. Now this curve is kind of nice actually. It's not bugging me as much as I thought it might. This will probably have to be a little bit stiffer. Let's scale that in the no, maybe not, and just move this here. Now we're going to need to do a little bit of interesting extrusions and subdivisions, but instead of trying to get some more detail by putting in 2 rows over here, I'm going to extrude this region, click, scale in, and then extrude that region down so it looks like it's got a bit of a socket or something like that. Then I'm going to use my knife tool to make that look a little bit more as if it's got a bit of a curve there. And we'll grab that and move that up there. And so that's the front. That's the back, sorry. What's going on at the front? We might have to do the same sort of thing. This might be slightly easier. Let's go into face select mode and select these 2 faces. Duplicate, P to separate selected, and let's grab those. Go into edit mode, Control Tab, vertices, up like so, and we'll bring those down like this. Select all by hitting A again, extrude out in its normal. And I think the problem is with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to select a bunch of these vertices here. Let's just rotate those into Z a little bit. And let's grab these over here. Maybe rotate them in the Z a little bit too. Smooth those out a bit. And yeah, we've got something that looks quite pretty good. Let's go into here. I'm going to select this back bit, and I'm going to select this bit, and I'm going to select the pants. Control J, join selected meshes. Save and save often. All right, braces are done. Let's bring in those hands on the separate layer there.
So we've just brought back our hands. Let's see here in side view, and we'll switch over to front view here. And before I edit these, I'm going to do something a little bit different from my usual method, and that is, after I go into edit mode, in side view, I'm going to rotate these hands to face our front camera 90 degrees. Top view here, I'm going to push these back over here. The reason I have done this will become clear when we get to rigging the character. When hands twist downwards, they actually twist around the bones. Naturally, they actually flow on this way. And so I decided that I'm going to model it this way. It's also easier to model and refine the hand in these views. And I'm going to get rid of these vertices here. Take these vertices and in side view, just twist those round slightly. Go out of edit mode and go into edit mode and select the torso mesh. Now, if I select all of these vertices here, you'll notice that there are 14. If I select the vertices here on the end of this glove, you'll notice that there are only 10. But that's okay because we won't be stitching these two together at this point anyway. What we will be doing is creating this as a separate glove element to fit on the end of this arm. But because I want a little bit more bare arm, I'm going to extrude the rest of the forearm from the body and then create the glove hand over here. So hitting E to extrude only edges, I'm going to drag this out, and in this view I'm going to make this my top view here. Scaling a little bit like that, and maybe even going into my edit settings to smooth these things out as I scale, rotating slightly, extrude again. Forearms, for some reason, always seem a little bit quite simple. Going to edge mode, I'm going to Option or Alt Edge to select the edge loop. Grab that. Scale that up a little bit more, rotate it, grab that edge there. This is our elbow region over here. Alt select, scale in a little bit more. Control R to create another edge loop and scale that in. Rotating that a little bit. Option select, scale that down a little bit, sort of modeling as I go. Go back into vertex mode. Being very, very conscious to to take a lot of your information on board in this this part of the tutorial. This is the last one in the modeling, and there has been a lot of not exactly chatter, but a lot of comments to do with if I say vertice or vertex, and some shortcuts which actually make modeling a lot easier. So I decided to utilize those, and you'll be sure that I'll be using them in future tutorials. Okay, so I'm going to take this hand, I'm going to shift select the torso, Control J, join selected meshes. You'll notice that automatically the subsurf modifier on the torso gets transferred onto the glove, but I still have to, in edit mode, set to smooth so that the gloved hand looks a lot smoother. Back into vertex mode, in edit mode, I'm going to select all these linked vertices. In the top view, I'm going to scale this out in the Y direction. He's going to have more hulkish hands, and scale in the Z direction because I like the sort of the short squat hands of a worker. That's sort of what we're going with here. Grabbing that, maybe rotating that a little bit over. Let's modify this thumb somewhat. I know, thank you, download alert, that at least this thumb vertex, let's switch that off for a second. Try to fatten this thumb out. Maybe what we might do is select all the vertices on this edge, grab them in the Y, give him a bit of a thicker thumb, rotate those slightly. Let's see. I have also this bad habit, I don't know if anyone's picked this up, but sometimes I call side view 3 view, front view 1 view. I've got to get out of that as well. It's my own personal criticism. Just adjust the thumb a little bit more around here. Okay, but what we really want to do, I mean, I could go to town redefining this hand, and I probably will before we get onto the other tute. What we really want to do is get these gloves looking like gloves. scale up the wrist a little bit, give him a bit of a thicker wrist. Rotate that slightly. Going to edge mode, Alt or Option, edge loop, rotate around. L for linked. Let's see how this is looking in terms of the character. Yeah, we're starting to get there. I might have to Alt select this edge loop, rotate that slightly over, and bring this forward, scaling it up somewhat. Alt select that. O to enable connected proportional fall off and scale that up ever so slightly. Alt select that edge ring. Now we're ready to maybe, okay, let's get out of that mode. Extrude in the X a little bit more. Extrude scale in. Extrude in the X out the other way. Maybe scale that up somewhat. In vertex select mode, grab these vertices here. And really feel that we're on the home stretch now. That in a little while we're actually going to have a completed character. In fact, let's have a look at him now. I don't know about you, but that's looking pretty complete to me. It's like you know, Tholemo's really wanting to give us a hug. There's only one thing left to do, and that's let's just add some eyebrows. So while we're in this area over here, let's set the selection, center it on that. I'm going to duplicate that, extrude edges up. Let's do this in front view, it's a little bit more fun. Rotate them like so. Control R, Control R, side view here, extrude region, ever so slightly, select all, grab in the Y so it intersects. Come on, intersect, damn you. Or maybe we'll just do this, we'll eyeball it, we'll rotate slightly, intersect with the mesh. We'll have to go in a little bit. Front view, okay. While we're in top view, we will need to Control R and loop at least the front, but we will do the behind as well. Select all, set smooth, recalculate normals. Oh, we're just looking like a couple of... There's no real personality in there yet, is there? I sort of expected that there might be a little bit more. Maybe we'll have to scale that in. Side view here. Extend them out as far as they'll go over here. Rotate in the Z. Who knew the eyebrows might be so finicky? Control R, let's get another loop cut in there. Let's rotate that in the Z. Let's bring these back a little bit in. See what they're looking like now. Let's take a look in perspective view. Let's let's get rid of all of that. And that, my friends, is the finished Tholemo model. Give ourselves a clap. Yay! It's been a freaking year. So this concludes the modeling phase of this tutorial series. Hope you've gained a lot of insight into the modeling techniques that goes into creating a character such as this. And I hope you stick around on the Process Diary for more tutorials coming up in the months to follow. Bye for now.